be installing the minikube Kubernetes cluster on our local Mac operating system. So there are a few steps for doing that. So this is the steps that we need to follow. So first step is like we need to download virtualbox and install it. Then the step 2 is like we need to install minikube, and after doing that we should be able to start the Kubernetes cluster on our local operating system. So let's get started. So first we need to go here and we need to download virtualbox. So if you're not aware what virtualbox is, it's a product for enterprise as well as home use. It basically runs a lot of operating system on top of it. So if you have virtualbox installed on your computer, you can actually run Linux operating system, Windows operating system on top of the underlying operating system. So in order to achieve that, we need virtualbox, which is very handy tool, and that's the reason we are downloading virtualbox, because we'll be starting minikube on top of virtualbox. So let's download that. So for download you need to go here and you have OS X host. So once you click that, it will download the specific DMG file on your computer. So I already have downloaded that. So this is the DMG file that we're talking about. So let's open it and install the virtualbox for our Mac operating system. So there are some steps. You just double click on that, then you say continue. It will tell you how much space it will be taking on a computer, and install it. Now it's writing the files. So the installation has been done. So we'll move to trash. So let's see virtualbox. So here it is. We have the virtualbox installed. Let's open it. So this is the interface of the virtualbox. From here you can do a lot of stuffs. So in the meantime, let's install minikube, and then I can show you like what happens in virtualbox when we start the minikube Kubernetes cluster. So for that, you just need to go here, kubernetes.io docs tools install minikube. So it actually tells you how you can install minikube. So basically let's do that. So it's before we begin, we need to check this feature. This is control A. So let's do that. So you can see VMX is there, so it's fine. So if you see VMX in the output, the VTX feature is enabled in your machine. If it's not, then we need to check something else. So it should be enabled on your machine, so it's fine. So let's go ahead. Okay, let's run this command to download the executable. So it's downloading the executable using curl. Curl is a command using which you can get executables on your local machines. So it's downloaded. Let's see, minikube. So this executable is downloaded. So we'll change the permission of this executable. As you can see here, the executable is right now read write. So we'll change that executable now. So you can see the difference. It has changed the permission to an executable so that a person can run it. And we'll also move it to user local bin. You give your password, and it should be there. You should not find it in your home directory right now, so it's not there. So if you look here, yeah, it's there. So you can see here minikube is there. So basically the important reason to do this to use a local bin is like now you can run minikube in any directory that you are. You don't have to like go into a specific directory and run it. So for that Mac operating system has environment path. If you see here, user local bin. So since it's present in the path environment variable, whenever we move an executable to user local bin, it will by default it will search in all this directory, and if it doesn't find in any of these directories, it will give you an error saying that that executable is not present. So basically that's the reason why we moved this minikube to user local bin. And now let's clear the screen and we can start the minikube. So now minikube is downloading the ISO hash, and it will start the Kubernetes cluster on top of virtualbox. And after it's done and it gets started, you should be able to interact with this Kubernetes cluster from your local machine. So this is really very helpful if you are trying to make some POCs, or like you have an idea and you want to implement that, then this approach is really good. And since we wanted a Kubernetes cluster in our case, so that's the reason I wanted to show you how we can download it and set up a Kubernetes cluster in our local machine. So going forward, whenever we'll be deploying our API, we'll do it on this Kubernetes cluster. So it will take some time to download. So this is a one-time download that will happen. If you want to start the minikube again later, it won't download that because it's already downloaded. As of now, since we have just installed minikube, that's the reason it's downloading all the packages so that it can help start the Kubernetes cluster. So it's downloaded, and you can see here it's creating a virtualbox VM, so which has a 2-core CPU and a memory of 6000 MB and a disk of 20,000 MB. So if you now go to virtualbox, you should see that a new host has come up here and it's telling minikube is running. So you can see the base memory is 6000 MB, processors 2, boot order optical, yeah. So it is starting a minikube cluster now, and once it's done, you can easily see that the Kubernetes cluster is running on top of a virtualbox machine. So let's give it some time to yeah. So like now the minikube has started. As you can see, kubectl is now configured to use minikube. Now kubectl is a command line utility tool using which you can interact with the Kubernetes cluster. Now the Kubernetes cluster is ready, already installed on your Mac operating system. So now in order to interact with the Kubernetes cluster, we need kubectl. So I'll tell you in the next lecture as to how we can interact with this Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so that's it in this lecture. Thanks.